Hello, kitties. It's time to talk about Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt, the anthology series on HBO, based off the comic book series of the same name and a few other comic books, introduced by the Crypt Keeper, a host that would introduce the many stories.
And today I shall be ranking my top 10 intoxicating Tales from the Crypt episodes. So, let's bury the hatchet and begin.
Number 10!
Tales from the Crypt. I call this putrid piece Abracadaver.
In this episode, some brothers have not gotten along because of a prank years ago that had gone horribly wrong with the brother having a heart attack, who was one success, but, he's stops. So after a while, he actually kills his brother, making him clinically dead. Him seeing everything that happens to his corpse. And I enjoyed this episode, seeing his body getting tortured. And I kind of enjoyed the ending, but you know what? It's a pretty damn fun episode, seeing this guy get tortured, and the ending makes it worth it. And you know what? It's just fun. So I gotta give this episode the number 10 spot.
Wanna play doctor? Then open wide and say,
Number 9.
Tales from the Crypt. I call this little game of chops and clobbers Carrion Death.
In this episode, a escaped convict is trying to get to the Mexican border, but there's a cop there who's trying to bust him. Eventually, he does kill the cop, but he's handcuffed to the cop, so he has to carry his body all through, which must be a real bitch, but it does have someone to good things about it. But yeah, he probably should have took that off. I mean, if you really think about it, he probably could have cut Hoff's hand off with something else very early on. I mean, I'm pretty positive there's glass around his area, so he probably could have used that, but uh, oh well, you know what? They gotta do what they show in the goddamn cover. So he has to accidentally cut his own hand off and get his eyeball eaten by a goddamn fucking vulture.
And that is not a damn spoiler of the ending. I mean, they showed it on the damn cover. You can't blame me for this shit.
And overall, instead of that, the episode's pretty good, and I like the convict, even though he's, of course, meant to be an asshole, but he's kind of fun, so I like this episode. It's pretty good.
Boy, talk about flipping someone the bird.
Number 8.
Tales from the Crypt. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house.
The second episode of the series, meaning the Crypt Keeper, technically is not as good as he will be, but that's not really the problem with the episode. No, the problem with the episode is, I'll talk about it in a minute, but so this is about a wife who killed her husband on Christmas Eve, even though this episode was released in June. But the episode still is pretty damn good. I mean, I just enjoy her trying to hide her husband's body while, this crazy guy is trying to kill her, and, her trying to have it so her kid doesn't see it. And the only problem with the story? The bitch is fucking stupid. It takes her forever to figure out to blame the guy for her husband's death. And, it takes her forever. I noticed that in a goddamn minute. I mean, really, a normal person can do that. She's just a fucking dumbass. I mean, really, what the hell? And she also decided not to grab the gun when she could have shot him and actually lived. But, of course, the bitch was stupid.
Yeah, sorry, you kinda deserve that if you're that damn stupid.
But instead of that, I enjoy the episode. It's a pretty fun episode, and I like it. And it's a pretty good second episode.
Be very careful what you ask for Christmas. You might just get it.
Number 7.
Tales from the Crypt. Fire! I call tonight's tale Yello.
This episode, not originally a Tales from the Crypt episode. It was reused because, they couldn't get it on the air or something like that. I didn't really look at what this episode was about, but oh well. This was the only episode to be more than 30 minutes. This is about a World War I guy who is Yello and doesn't want to be in the army. So he actually runs from the enemy, so it makes Lance Henriksen die, who's also in another episode. Even though the only reason why this episode is so low is because it's not really horror. It's definitely, war, but it's not really horror. But it's still a pretty fun episode, and even though it's longer, it's pretty damn good. It has to be on this list, since, it's pretty damn good, because it has some pretty good acting. Overall, I like it, and as a pretty good message, says that, you shouldn't be Yellow, you should fight, but you shouldn't have to do something, you can't do, or don't want to do. And overall, I do like this episode. It's pretty good. Number 6.
Tales from the Crypt.
Dead right. The first episode of the second season. This episode is about a woman who wants to be rich, so she talks to a psychic. Her saying that if she marries this fat-ass smelly guy, she will get a lot of money, and he will die a horrible death. And she does marry him, and she was right, but not in the way she saw it. Spoilers, she gets the money herself, but the husband murders her. And so technically, she gets the money, and technically he gets it, and dies a horrible death, but, she had to die first. Because, this guy's kinda an asshole, but she's kinda a bitch for marrying him, but, overall, I do like the episode. This fat ass it's some pretty good makeup on it, because I can clearly tell that it has to be fucking makeup. There's no way a guy looks like that, but overall, I do like this episode. It's a good episode, Number 5.
Tales from the Crypt.
Cormans Calamity, or however the hell you say that. This episode is about the Tales from the Crypt artist drawing coming to life and terrorizing people. And this episode is good. Me liking the horror and the comics. Because, they blend well together and, I like both. And it's an interesting concept. Monsters are pretty cool, plus it's meta, kinda. And this gets it on the list automatically.
Yeah, sorry, it gotta get on because of that. That's just awesome to have that there.
And this is one of the few episodes to have completely, or mostly, happy ending, which the guy getting the girl. And you know what? The wave is dead too, so it's pretty good for him. Plus, this is the Richie from It, so I gotta say that. But, I do like the episode, The monsters are cool as fuck. And, I just like it.
From the Crypt.
Till death. In this episode, a guy's land is screwed over and uninhabitable. So he wants to marry a rich woman so he can get a potion from an old friend to get her to fall in love with him. And of course, he gives her too much. So she becomes a pretty badass looking zombie. And she just keeps deteriorating. So they can stay together, life and death. And the main reason why this episode is getting high on the list is because of the effects. Seeing this girl deteriorate is just so badass and cool to see. The effects on this are pretty damn good. I like it. Plus, this guy's overacting is really good too. Number 3.
Tales from the Crypt.
Crying out loud. In this episode, a music promoter who is having ear problems because of his conscience is trying to tell him to be a good guy, but it does not work. Him trying to steal the money and even killing his banker trying to get away with it. The voice in his head is voiced by Sam Tinson, who I would go insane too, because this guy does technically have a really annoying voice, and even though he's a great comedian, and he's really damn fun to listen to. I'm sorry, but seeing this guy get, annoyed by him is just damn fun. I just wish this guy wasn't dead, since he was a good goddamn comedian of what I've seen of him, And it's a pretty damn good episode, because it's just fun as shit.
I'm just gonna have to speak up! Oh!
Number 2.
Tales from the Crypt.
Cutting cards. You know what? I think I see You know what? There's a lot of fun episodes on the list. Not many goddamn horror episodes. But actually, this episode is about two gamblers that hate each other. Played by Lance Henriksen and Kevin Tiger. And, they play Russian roulette. And they eventually chop each other's fingers off. That shows how much these guys hate each other. And, you know, I just like seeing how much these people want to kill each other. I mean, they hate each other so damn much. I mean, damn, they just want to kill each other. They're just like frenemies. I just enjoy the interactions. I mean, if it wasn't for the number one, it wouldn't be on the list at all. I mean, this episode I just like it. And Lance Hendrickson and Kevin Teig are both good actors, too. And you know what? This episode is just awesome.
Dinner time!
Before we get to our number one most ghoulish Tales from the Crypt episode, let's have some hellish honorable mentions. House of Horror. I just enjoy seeing a live, or not technically live, haunted house thing and seeing this guy die. Assassin. This is only the Crypt Keeper parts only, though. The episode isn't very good. I mean, I don't like this episode too much. The only good thing about it is the goddamn Crypt Keeper sections, because as Death from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, who is damn good. I love this. This is just the only part of the episode that's actually worth it. The rest of it is kind of shit, though. Just watch that part. And this guy was also in one episode I'm about to talk about. The Man That Was Death. Yeah, this is the first episode. I like Death. He's a good Death. He's the Death that was in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. And you know, this guy is pretty damn good. I mean, he is a good goddamn actor. And I just like this episode. You Murderer. Yeah, I like the episode, just the problem is the fake ass faces. Horror in the Night. This episode is batshit, and I just like it. Till Death Do We Part. Yeah, they're reusing names. I like this episode because it's so unreal in how they use guns, but... Oh, actually, I don't like that, but... Instead, it has a pretty good episode, so I was actually able to expect the ending by how it was. Undertaking Parlor. I like the kids. The actual kids. I just like that. And the number one best Tales from the Crypt episode is...
The Third Pig.
This being the final episode, to make it special, it's the only animated episode series. And the animation is ugly at times, but beautiful in a way. And this episode is a darker version of the Tale of the Three Little Pigs. And the third pig is blamed for his stupid brother's murder by the wolf. And most of the episodes in the 7th season, even the 6th, were pretty crappy, except for this one. That is so great and very funny. The only episode where the Crypt Keeper actually narrates, and the voice acting in the episode, like the Crypt Keeper, of course, is pretty good. The third pig, being voiced by the voice of Leonardo, Cam Clark.
Now I can say, it's alive! Live! Live! Live!
And the big bad wolf being voiced by Bobcat Goldwell.
I'm not a damn poet! Why does everything always have to rhyme in these things? Ah, I can't help it! No one talks like...
Who was also in another episode, the Ventriloquist Dummy, which I might as well just give an honorable mention now. And the story is pretty damn good. I liked how they retell the story of the Three Little Pigs, and they make it much darker. How they had the animation, it goes so well with Tales from the Crypt. And it shows that Tales from the Crypt didn't go out with a whimper. It went out with a bang. And the only problem with the episode is the Crypt Keeper never found that screenwriter. But the episode is good, with that beautiful animation that I just love. This is my favorite Tales from the Crypt episode.
I love this ending! I think it's neat! And I've only one thing to say! Pork the other light meat!
And there are so many grim Tales from the Crypt episode way of doing it. So, we shall be looking at something else next week. But until then, I am Jacob, and I will see you all later. Bye.
I predict the future. Next week, you'll be in the same time, same place, same station.
I'm just gonna have to speak up! Oh!